Hello, this is Nanansa, and you're watching The Homeland, Story of the Returnee. This is a show where we dive into the perspective of diasporas in and out of Ghana. Stay tuned while I introduce my guests after the break. Hello, welcome back. And with me today is Ms. Gil Nikwe. Hello, Ms. Gil.
Hello, very nice to meet you.
How are you doing this morning?
Very nice, thank you.
Well, before we start our show, we usually have an icebreaker, which is a yes or no question.
Okay.
So I just ask the question, and then you answer yes or no.
Fair enough.
Okay, so let's start with that. Do you cook?
Yes.
How well?
Depends on the dish.
Can you live without the internet?
No.
Have you ever sent a wrong message to someone?
Yes.
Have you ever lost a fight?
I don't fight.
Never been in a fight?
Never in my life.
Impressed. Are you concerned about what other things about you?
Not really.
Not even a tiny bit?
Not anymore. It's
You
been a
used to.
journey.
Okay.
So I used to, but now,
Well, that was the segment for yes or no.
Oh.
That was the yes or no segment. So back with me soon as I introduce my guests, and we're going to dive into the hobbies, the lifestyle, and the growing up. Stay tuned for that. Hello, we're back with Ms. Gil. So Ms. Gil, we already did the first segment, which was a yes or no, but now I would love to really get to know you.
Okay.
My first question with you is, did you have any hobbies growing up?
I was a little bit of a nerd growing up, and so I was a reader,
Okay.
write poetry. I did theater for a minute, for a short period of time, but the classic nerd, to be honest with you.
So what would be your favorite all-time reads? What were you into? Frictions, novels,
Science fiction.
Ooh,
Science fiction.
that's intense.
Yeah, I think I was always fascinated. Sounds crazy, but as a youngster, I loved Star Trek, and I just liked the idea of thinking about different worlds. And I liked Star Trek because it was multicultural, right? There were different people that had different experiences, and that always was a draw for me.
I really wish I could dive into Star Trek till today. Still can't get myself to watch it. So you did poetry.
I did.
Do you have like any favorite time poets?
No, I liked poetry as a child.
Yeah.
In the very simple,
Okay.
nature type poetry.
Yeah.
As I grew older, I found poetry more difficult because I tend to like things that are fairly direct, not necessarily open to
Interpretation. That's
interpretation.
the beauty of poetry.
I know, which is why I'm not the person to go to a poetry reading, because it's just I'm very literal in that
Okay.
regard. Yeah.
That's fair enough. I guess we all must love poetry. And how was growing up for you? Like, because I know you grew up in America
I did.
and you're now in Ghana, which we're going to get
I
back to that. So how was growing up in America like for you?
um it was fine because that's all I knew, right? Actually, really going and making me think back on things that I hadn't thought about for a while. I grew up, I'm first generation American. Both of my parents are from Barbados and grew up in the suburbs. Grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. As I got older, vowed I would never do that again.
Why, if I may ask?
Because I don't think it allows for full growth, right? Like I understand the thought process of my parents when they made the decision to move from Brooklyn to Long Island. I understand that, but it's hard to get a sense of who you are when you are the only one, right? So growing up on my block, it was my family and my aunt and uncle's family around the corner, and we were the only black families in that. And I recall an interesting story. I remember as I got a little bit older, I asked my mother, how come I was never a Girl Scout? Just sort of part of growing up, you become a Girl Scout. And that's when she told me years later that the woman who was the den leader for the Girl Scouts didn't want a black person in her home, right? But I would give my mom credit in that if you thought that you were better than her, she can stick her nose higher in the air and, act as she's way better than you. And so you always have those pockets, but then you also have neighbors who would shun, after I found out, would shun the person who didn't allow the black person into their home.
Okay.
Or so you see both sides of the coin. You see the person who is engaging and welcoming, and you see the person who is exclusionist. So I think that gives you a better perspective of life. Yeah.
So growing up from there, how did you move into your adulthood, your teenager? What school did you go? What did you learn? And how come I know I read that you went into law.
I did.
So what directed your path from poetry, theater, science fiction, straight to law?
I always knew that I wanted to be a lawyer. People, even though I tell my kids the exact opposite now, that take your time and figure out what you want to do, I've always had a sense of social justice in my soul and in my spirit. So I knew that I wanted to go to law school. Didn't quite know how I was going to get there, but just sort of knew that I did. And I started out and I went to Clark University in Massachusetts on a scholarship, and I studied government and economics. And then after that, because I did very well, I got another scholarship to go to Duke University, and I studied public policy. And I still knew that I wanted to go to law school at some point. So after 5 years of schooling, I worked for 2 or 3 years, and then decided to go back to law school.
Okay.
And I chose Howard Law because at that point in my life, I had been 20-something years old, and I'd never been in a predominantly black environment. I just never had that experience. So got a scholarship. It always helps, right? And I just wanted that experience that I'd never had before. And I think looking back in retrospect, a good decision, the right decision for me. Yeah.
So how did that transition into now you being in Ghana? What was the movement? What transit you? Because I know you're the president of the AAG.
Yes.
If you don't know what the AAG is, the African American Associates of Ghana.
I am. I fell in love with a Ghanaian.
Okay.
I fell in love with him, and about 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, got an opportunity to move back to Ghana, and I thought it would be a great move for my children. I wanted them to. I mean, we had always visited Ghana since they were children. Even my eldest, who's now 17, up until the time he was 3, if you asked him where he's from, he'd say he's from Ghana. I say, honey, you were actually born in North Carolina, right? But exactly. But I always knew we've always had that back and forth being here, and I always knew that I wanted my kids to have this experience. So, opportunity presented itself, decided to go with it.
And how are you finding your transition in Ghana? How was it for you when you came to Ghana? What was your challenges?
Okay. The initial transition was not easy. I missed my family. And I think that I probably spent the first year so focused on my kids and trying to get them settled and get them in a place where they felt comfortable that I spent no time on me and no time trying to create an environment for myself to thrive in and to work in and to be fully me. So that first year was definitely difficult, very, very difficult.
So when you came, would you say you were accepted in Ghana? Were Ghanaian accepted? Like the people you met? Did you feel like an outsider, a foreigner when you got in, or you felt very
both
welcome? Okay,
both.
Explain
Right.
that for me.
I think questions like this in general, people ask these type of generalizations all the time. And I don't think that they are particularly informative, because you can be accepted by one and not accepted by another, right? So there are some people who, would look at me and say, well, why are you here? They're not welcoming, they're not engaging. And then there are others that are like, oh, my sister, my cousin,
Yes, yeah, welcome home.
welcome home, right? So you get both sides of the coin. And I don't know that necessarily one outweighs the other, but I do think that we try and put ourselves into environments where we are accepted, right? And in situations where people engage with us as we are, as a person, not as an African American, per se.
Okay, so coming into Ghana, how did you find the work system, and how did you straight away get involved in the system in Ghana? Within the work system
With the
in
work
Ghana?
system.
Yeah.
Truth be told, right? When I first came, and leaving my job that I did love, I did enjoy my work. I thought to myself, how often do people get at this stage in their career the opportunity to start over, right? To do something completely new, completely different, and not very often. Right? You tend to become specialized in what you do, and then people value you based on that expertise. I was like, well, I wasn't going to shift in my career then, because I knew what I was good at. So I came here, I thought, okay, I'm going to give myself 2 years to figure out what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it, and go forth from there. And then the first year, like I said, was a wash, right? So then I was like, okay, you got 2 more years, right? So I just recently, to be honest with you, I just recently decided that I'm going to sit for the Ghanaian bar. I had pushed against that for a while, just because, you feel like I've got all this experience and I got to sit here and take a class for a year. But I think that it would do me well to do that. So this October, I'm going to
law school.
I'm going back to. Oh, yeah, I never thought of it like that. I'm going back to law school. So there you have it. Yeah.
Okay, so coming back to Ghana, so that was the job opportunity for you. And as the government, the president have said, today's the year of the returnee.
Yes, it is.
And I know you're playing a major role in it.
Yeah.
How are you finding that experience? What is it like?
It's actually been fantastic. I think that I sit on a couple of committees, steering committees for the Year of Return. I sit on that committee. The Ghana Diaspora Homecoming Summit Committee, I sit on that as well. And I think that it's important to have a different perspective and to show, I think, we become comfortable with what we know, right? And we become comfortable with our experiences. And we grow when we recognize that other people's experiences are different from ours, and then we are enlightened by that. So I feel like I have learned a lot about Ghanaian culture, being part of those committees. And I hope, I think I have, also imparted a perspective on the other committee members that they would not necessarily have but for having an African American or someone who is not traditionally tied to Ghana as part of the discussion and as part of the planning process. So
That's
I
amazing.
think that's good.
So me, I'm looking at how would you say the work ethic from America?
You didn't go there.
I had to. I'm
You
so
didn't
intrigued.
go there.
I had to. The work ethics. What would you say? What would be the difference? I'm talking about accountability. I'm talking about discipline, commitment.
I try very hard to be very mindful when I'm asked difficult questions.
We like transparency.
You know, but I do. You just used the word that I like. I like transparency. And I think that there's room for growth here in terms of transparency. I am always mindful of being upfront, especially for the African American Association of Ghana. Everything needs to be transparent. The decisions that are made need to be decisions that you can understand. You may not necessarily agree with it, but you can understand the logic as to why we decided to do what we did. I'm also very mindful of fairness, that one situation or one person or whatnot is not treated differently because of the relationship or whatever else that's there, which is why I believe in transparency.
Miss Gill, please hold that thought.
Yes.
Going for a short break. We'll come back and then we'll continue.
Sounds great.
You're watching The Homeland, Story of the Returnee, and we're on the short break. And hopefully stay in tune. Don't move. This story is really interesting. We dive in more into the perspective and the job aspects of Ghana and how the discipline and accountability works.
My name is Richard Darkey, but you can call me Dick for short. I'm 6'6", and So I don't take life too seriously. I think life is hard as it is. But one thing that I've always said, you can't enjoy life living on eggshells. You need to have fun. Be the one to say, I'm sorry that I did and not that I wish that I had. Because at the end of the day, you need to go for it. Okay, go for it and trust the process. Don't look for shortcuts, because usually sometimes what people want to do is to find shortcuts to things and to life and success and all of that. But you need to trust the process. Know that you need to take every step. I would have said probably two. I like to see how Nana Addo and John Mahama will be together, having a party, having a good laugh. But then again, let me go outside of Ghana. I like Will Smith. I've followed him for a while now. I think I like his style. He likes having a lot of fun, and I'm someone who likes having a lot of fun as well. He's someone that is not fazed by anything at all. He actually challenges or attacks his fears. And following him for a while now, I think he's someone that I definitely would like to have at a party. Double D, it's all good. I'm gonna be your host for Fake News. I'm really excited about it. Like I said before, one of my biggest hobbies is putting balls into holes. Small holes, big holes, I got you. And don't be thinking about anything crazy. I'm talking about something like basketball, big hole. Talking about something like shooting pool, small hole. Think of Fake News, think of Dick Darky. I'm going to be in your home, it's going to be on your mind, and I'm looking forward to meeting you on your screens. See you soon.
Welcome back, and you're watching the Homeland Story of the Returning. I hope you didn't move, and if you did, come back to your seats. And if you're now watching, stay tuned as we sit with Miss Gill. You will love, the in-between of works from Ghana and United States, the discipline, the accountability, and definitely the commitment and transparency, which we were talking about before we went on break.
Yes.
So how would you say the transparency was? Because you were talking about being transparent with the African American coming back to Ghana and then acceptance.
Right, and I think that transparency is beneficial in general across the board. It's important to give the full story. I know you were talking initially from the perspective of work, right, and how we engage with one another. But I think it goes beyond that as well. I think transparency, people have a tendency, particularly on social media, to present one side of the transition from United States or someplace else to Ghana. And it's not always, it's not always that easy, and it's not a utopia, and it's not peaches and cream. Like in any place that you live, they're good and they're bad, right? Or there are things that you wish were different. So I think it's important to give a full story of what it means to come here and to work here and to live here and to raise your children here.
So the thing is like the work ethic, discipline, and I want you to really dive into that. Like, how would you compare both? Since now you in Ghana, so you have to be as real and as raw as possible.
All right. My background as a lawyer means, at least for me, I'm hardworking. I don't believe in, whatever time, it's time for the day to be over. The day's over when the work that you're supposed to get done is done. I can recall numerous times I'm up, I have kids, and you come home, you do a little bit of work, you get the kids to bed, and then you're back on the computer doing what you need to do, and you're working till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning because something needs to get done. It is what it is. I'm not sure that I've seen that level of commitment. That doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It's just to say that my personal experience hasn't been that. So I believe, for me personally, I have a very strong work ethic, and the people that I work for trust that I will do what I say I'm going to do in the time frame I say that I'm going to do it. If I can't do it in that time frame, I inform that, it's just not going to happen. I think that's something that needs to be fleshed out a little bit more carefully as we go forward. In terms of a work ethic, I also think that.
So you would say accountability is lacking, as in, if I'm going to be here at 1, I should be here at 1, or inform to say I'm not going to be here.
Yeah, I think what happens though is that there is a level of acceptability in terms of, oh yeah, I said I was going to be able to get X done, and I wasn't able to do it, and I didn't call you, and I didn't inform you of that, and it's okay.
Accept it, yeah.
Right. That's a bit different. Right. That's very much different. If you know that you're not going to be able to do something, at least at my previous jobs, the expectation is that you inform others that this is not going to be done in the time frame that it was supposed to be done. Right. It's also, I think, along those same lines. And it could be, again, the type of work that I did. You're a problem solver. The idea of saying, no, oh no, I can't get it done. Yes, you can. You can if you put energy and effort into finding a solution to the problem, right? So I don't like blanket statements in general, right? So can I speak to the work ethic in Ghana, in whole? No. Can I speak to my personal experiences? Yes. Can I speak to people that I was actually shocked went above and beyond what my expectations were from a work perspective that were Ghanaian? Absolutely, right? So there are people who do what they're supposed to do. There are people that don't do what they're supposed to do. And there are people that go beyond what they're supposed to do. And I think that's true anywhere you are. But I think that there's room for improvement, and I think there's room for educating, right? Educating people to be problem solvers.
So back in Ghana, what would your aha moment, your reflective moment be like? You know what? I'm willing to stay here for the long run instead of running back to comfort zone where you know how everything else works.
There was never an aha moment because I primarily made the decision to move here based on my husband and my children, and I thought that it was a good decision, particularly for my children. So I don't think that in the back of my head, I was looking to run back. And I stand by that. I stand that it has been one of the best decisions that I've ever made with regards to my children in particular. They have grown and blossomed, for lack of a better term, in a way that I don't think they would have been able to had we stayed in the U.S. I believe that now they have a better understanding of cultural differences. and that as they get older and they start to forge their own way in the workplace, I consider them global citizens right now. There's nothing that they cannot do. There's nothing that they feel that they're incapable of doing. They have teachers and people around them that believe in them and hold them to the highest standards. And that is what will serve them well as they go on beyond,
Yeah.
secondary schooling.
So you would say the lifestyle in the United States and Ghana has kind of given them a better understanding of how the community work and how to forge and marry both.
I think so. I definitely think so, and I think that they get both perspectives, right? They definitely. It's not like they're blinded of all of the things that are in the U.S., but they're also exposed to something different being here, and it makes them. First of all, it makes them more interesting. It makes them more interesting
Yes.
people, but it also gives them a sense of self and of their capabilities that no one can take from them, because they know who they are. They can stand firm and stand tall.
Yeah, and definitely when you know who you are, you're always standing firm and tall. And also, what would you say your contribution to the Ghanaian society you're hoping to have a contribution to Ghanaian society, and also how, because I read about you're creating opportunity for dialogues for different cultures and communities to be able to understand each other, more understanding, more acceptance, and more, we're able to merge all the cultures together and become united. So how are you processing and doing that? What are your goals and aim, and how do you hope to achieve all these things?
So the African American Association of Ghana in particular, we always have Black History Month events, and one of the guiding principles.
In Ghana, you have a Black History events in Ghana.
Yes, we have a month-long,
Can you pin the dates somewhere?
February. That's Black History Month, is in February. So we always have events during the entire month. And one of the guiding principles of those events is cross-cultural understanding and African Americans showing their culture to Ghanaians and others from the diaspora. This past Black History Month, for example, we brought, and I will say with the help, the financial support of the U.S. Embassy, they were fantastic and fabulous in supporting these endeavors. We brought Dr. Nia Amara to Ghana. Dr. Amara is the first African American woman to earn a PhD in astrophysics from Berkeley. She currently lectures at Harvard, and she's an artist, right? So it's like this phenomenal dichotomy, right? Art and science, and she's doing great things. And we brought her here, and we took her to schools across Central, the Eastern region, the Volta region.
You missed the Western region.
That's because we didn't have time, right? She was only here for 10 days, and we were running back and forth, and we were going all over the place. And she spoke to over 4,000 students about her experiences. And she spoke to them about what it takes to be a woman in the sciences. And she spoke to them about, being sure of yourself and taking those steps and finding ways to get the support that you need. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal, right? So we do events like that. We've had our launch, and our launch this year, the theme was Black Migrations, exploring our roots and beyond. And we had a very diverse group of people that came. The Ambassador Sullivan also spoke. The owner of Diaspora Network Television spoke. Jermaine, and he's been phenomenal.
It's Jermaine Nkrumah.
Exactly, Jermaine Nkrumah. We had members of the Diaspora Office come and speak, Office Office of the President. We had individuals from the Du Bois Center. We had individuals from the University of Ghana, Legon. We had Ghanaian returnees come and speak. We had all of, we had this entire program dedicated to educating and cross-cultural understanding and questions and answers and getting to know each other, because fundamentally, and this is my personal belief, fundamentally, we all grow when we understand one another. And that's what we aim to do. That's what the African American Association of Ghana does on a regular. Last year, we brought Dr. Du Bois's great-grandson from the U.S. to Ghana. And he did lectures about his grandfather, great-grandfather. We talked about the concept of Pan-Africanism. We deal with Pan-African students at the Pan-African clubs here. We worked with the University of Legon. We create, in my mind, we create venues for understanding and for growth and for appreciation of each other's cultures. And we support, for example, other Ghanaians that are here, right? So when I look at myself and I say, even outside of my role as the president of the African American Association of Ghana, my goal being here is to know more about Ghana and other diasporans, and to share my knowledge as an African American. And I believe with every fiber of my being, every drop of blood that runs through me, that when we get together and we support one another and we lift each other up, there is absolutely nothing we cannot achieve. It doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. And we need to embrace that, and we need to go with that, and we need to value that.
We need to value that and make it a system and scale. I would love to get back into this conversation. You're staying in tune with The Homeland Story of the Returnee, and we'll be Miss Gill right back after the break.
My name is Richard Darkey, but you can call me Dick for short. I'm 6'6", and so I don't take life too seriously. I think life is hard as it is, but one thing that I've always said, you can't enjoy life living on eggshells. You need to have fun. Be the one to say, I'm sorry that I did and not that I wish that I had. because at the end of the day, you need to go for it. Okay, go for it and trust the process. Don't look for shortcuts, because usually sometimes what people want to do is to find shortcuts to things and to life and success and all of that. But you need to trust the process. Know that you need to take every step. I would have said probably two. I like to see how Nana Addo and John Mahama will be together, having a party, having a good laugh. But then again, let me go outside of Ghana. I like Will Smith. I've followed him for a while now. I think I like his style. He likes having a lot of fun, and I'm someone who likes having a lot of fun as well. He's someone that is not fazed by anything at all. He actually challenges or attacks his fears. And following him for a while now, I think he's someone that I definitely would like to have D. It's all good. I'm gonna be your host for Fake News. I'm really excited about it. Like I said before, one of my biggest hobbies is putting balls into holes. Small holes, big holes, I got you. And don't be thinking about anything crazy. I'm talking about something like basketball, big hole. Talking about something like shooting pool, small hole. Think of Fake News, think of Dick Darky. I'm gonna be in your home, it's gonna be on your mind, and I'm looking forward to meeting you on your screens. See you soon.
Welcome back to the Homeland, the story of the returnee, and with me is Mrs. Gill. And Miss Gill, how can I say Mrs. Gill?
So, bless your heart.
And we have our final segment, which is called the Big Six. The Big Six is either or question. So I ask the question, you choose either or, so either one. But then you have to explain why.
Okay, sort of like when it was the yes or no question that I never answered yes or no except
for
one.
But this time around,
okay,
you have to choose.
I have to choose.
Yes.
All right.
So my first question to you is formal or traditional?
Okay, so here's the lawyer in me. You would have to define formal and you'd have to define traditional for me to answer that honestly.
Okay, so I would say traditional wears. Would you say traditional office space instead of having suit and tie, the whole coat, the whole normal formal systemic wear? Or the traditional way, you get African print, so in the office way, still traditional, but have an element of formal to it.
Probably traditional.
Like that one. Politician or preacher?
Woo!
You have to choose one.
But
and then
politician or preacher for what though?
Which one would you choose?
Text.
No, this is either or, and you have to explain why. You have to explain why.
Politician.
Okay, why?
Because I think that as a politician, you know what your goals should be. And your goals should be the benefit of the country as a whole. And you should be able to have mechanisms in place to support that objective. So I think that if you are a politician that is doing what you're supposed to do, you can have an impact on the larger
Yeah.
community as opposed to a smaller impact that maybe a preacher has just within their church family.
That's a very politically correct answer.
It's
But
an
in,
honest answer,
but in
though.
Ghana, or preacher in Ghana.
In Ghana. And I'd stand by my answer.
Okay.
I'd stand by my answer.
Brains or tea?
Absolutely brains.
Definitely, I agree with that. Money or fame?
Fame.
Why?
Because you can get fame from any number of different avenues. You could be famous for finding a cure for cancer. You can be famous for supporting democracy. You can be famous for standing up for what you believe in, and you're not necessarily wealthy, but you've made a great impact.
So the fame will be for impact and good name. Okay.
Yep.
Beauty or brains? I know I asked that, but I want to know, why do you choose brain?
Can I be politically incorrect?
Yes.
I don't like dumb people.
I don't. Plain canvases, no.
Yeah, I mean, and I when I say brain, it doesn't necessarily have to be formal education. Brains can be, an ability to understand outside of what's been placed
Yes.
before you, to think creatively, to think, objectively. So definitely.
Okay. Structured routine or go with the flow? Now that you're Ghana.
You have to go with the flow. I was told, I'll
Yes.
elaborate. I was told when I first got here by a very dear friend who works at the embassy. She told me, Gail, you're going to learn
Yep.
that you will constantly be swimming upstream if you don't learn how to be more fluid
Yes.
in how you approach things. So definitely.
So you say go with the flow creates patience in Ghana, right?
I have become much more patient
I knew
than I ever was. And patience has never been my strong suit.
Yeah.
I have become much, much more patient.
So right now you put patience in your skills. Ghana at least creates patience.
It absolutely, you have to. You have no alternative.
Yes. My final one and my best one, and you have to choose this.
Oh, okay.
Sing or dance. Really, you have to think about it before you choose this. Sing or dance.
Dance.
Okay. I would love to ask why, but I don't usually. I
Okay.
just want to see you dance.
Oh, no. that will not happen.
You can sit down. You can do chair dance, because I'm very good at chair dance. But
Okay.
like, yeah. No. You see that? You're missing out. We're talking about moves. This is intelligence and groove all together. And this is the homeland. Well, before I finally finished, my final question to you would be, what would you say to diasporans out trying to come to Ghana? What would your message be for them?
I think Ghana is a wonderful place. I love Ghana. I truly do. But don't come here thinking that it's a utopia.
Yes.
Plan, and then plan some more, and then plan some more. Because the reality is, what you think will take 6 months will take a year and a half or two, right? So it's easy to become disheartened, right? Because in your mind's eye, you think everything is going to flow so easily and so perfectly, and you need to be willing to understand that it takes time. It takes time. It takes patience, and it takes commitment. It takes commitment to decide that I'm in it and I'm going to do it. And I'll say this: people move here, especially in the last few years, and they put more time and effort into moving from, for example, New York to New Jersey than they do moving from the United States across continents.
From a developed world to a developing world.
Right.
Two different ball games.
And you just need to plan some more, and recognize that no matter how much you plan, things are not going to go the way that you thought that they would.
And you have to go with the flow.
And you have absolutely have to
Swim.
go with the boat. Swim.
Well, thank you so much, Miss Go, and I would love to sit and have this conversation because it's very interesting from a African American perspective to Ghana. Like the love for Ghana is just, the love is deep. You can sense it. It's like it's just everywhere.
It is.
And you're watching The Homeland, Story of the Returnee. Thank you so much for tuning in. And today we had Miss Girl with me. We spoke about how the transitioning from Ghana is and how the challenges, work ethic, perspectives, and also how Ghana is receptive depending on your experience and how you take it. So just know that the journey is individual, but make sure you plan, and plan some more in Miss Girl's words. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more.